Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to our nerdiest thing. Today, we are live with very special guest, author Tessonja Odette. Tessonja is a Seattle based author of fantasy romance, epic romantasy, and fairy tale retellings. She especially loves to write about brooding fae and the fierce women who hate to love them. In addition to writing, she is a multi passionate creative with a ton of artistic hobbies who believes in the importance of following your joy. When she isn't creating, she's watching cat videos, petting dogs, having dance parties in the kitchen with her daughter, or pursuing her many creative hobbies. In her books, you'll find enemies to lovers, witty banter, cozy vibes, and a delicious dash of steam. Welcome to the podcast, Asanya. Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I love your in these books. Here are the top tropes because those are all like my favorite, especially witty banter. That is top tier. One of my favorite. I guess that's a micro trope, but I love that so much. So that's very exciting. I would love to know what kind of music do you guys like to do your dance parties in the kitchen to?
Lately it's been anime soundtracks. Probably, I mean, and when I say lately, I mean for like years. We are a very much anime loving family, and we started just like every time we'd re watch an anime that we really liked, we'd add it to our playlist. And now we have this super long playlist, and now we need to make like a curated playlist of the best of the best. But yeah, we love anime playlists, and we love K-pop. So that's usually what's happening for listening to music or Sabrina Carpenter. Me and my daughter have
Yeah.
both bonded over Sabrina Carpenter as well.
Sabrina Carpenter songs are very catchy and very easy
Yes.
to dance to. I love that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a summer project, and if I have all of the spare time, to make new playlists of the no skip the songs we never skip from the other
Yeah.
playlists that we already have, you know? So I totally understand that. Well, one of my favorite fun facts that I've discovered about you, Tasanya, is that you have designed several of your own book covers. And in your
Yeah.
bio note, it says that you have lots of creative, artistic hobbies. I would just love to hear a little bit about that kind of artistic creation, and how that has come about and been a part of your life.
Yeah, so I've always been doing art ever since I was little. That was probably like the first thing I did before I started writing stories is I would draw, and that just stuck with me my whole life. And when I got really serious about writing, which was about like in 2017, I want to say, I felt like I really needed to focus because I'd
Mm.
spent so many years not finishing the books I wanted to write. And so I decided to like set aside a lot of the things I wanted to just be my hobbies. So it was art and music. And so I didn't think I could really do art regularly again. Like I felt like I had to choose. And I do think at the
Yeah.
time I did because my focus was everywhere. And then after a while I just really missed it and I wanted to do art again. I was like, I'm gonna get an iPad and I'm gonna use Procreate and I'm just gonna play around, have fun, at least feel like I'm doing art again. I'm just going to learn like the basis of digital art because I've never been really confident in like my skill level as an artist at all. So I'm like, okay, I can at least do some basic stuff and have fun. And then it just naturally, I just started like drawing like character art and just things that were related to my books. And then for fun, I decided to do a book cover. And the first book cover that I did was Curse of the Wolf King, which is like the standard cover that everybody sees, but little does everybody know. I originally had already commissioned covers for it, and they were the style that was popular at the time, which was like the photo manipulation cover with a girl in a pretty dress, and
Yeah.
it was very much the style back then. It was right on the cusp before we started seeing a ton of typography covers, and I was like, I like this typography style, and I feel like it's simple enough that like I don't need the best skills in the world to do it. Like I don't have to do
Yeah.
photorealism because I cannot do that. I can only do, you know, my style. And so I was like, I think I can do that. And I did. I'm like, you know what? That actually turned out pretty good. And I was like, well, I obviously am not going to use it as my regular cover because, like, again, the confidence thing. But then
Right.
when I showed my readers, they ended up loving it and they wanted that to be the
Yeah.
main cover. And I was just like, what? Are you serious? And I had this like mega imposter syndrome moment. But yeah, I did end up using those. And then now I do the covers for that, my Entangled with Fae series. I ended up doing second edition covers for my Fair Isle trilogy, which are the main covers that everyone also knows because those also had those photo manipulation girl in pretty dress covers way back when.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do have I do many of my covers. I don't do all of them. So don't assume if you see a cover of mine that I did it because I like to give credit where the credit is due and I love giving shout outs to the artists I work with.
Yeah, and you have credit to the different artists and the list of the ones that you designed on your website, I
Yes,
think,
I'm like, I
your
want that
FAQs.
information. Yeah, I want that information to be very clear so that when people want to know who did this cover, they can go find it. Because I
Yeah.
mean, as an author and just an art lover, I always want to know because I want to follow more artists. So when it's hard to find like an artist credit on someone else's cover, you just go on like this wild hunt. So I'm like, I'm gonna make it
Yeah.
as easy as I can.
Trying to figure out, "Oh, I really like this. I want to see more of it." Yeah. We
Yeah.
follow we follow a lot of artists on our account too. Deb, one of the other co-hosts, is also an artist. She
Oh,
does
okay.
digital art using Procreate. So you guys will have a lot to talk about. And Imagineering.
Yes.
She is that as well. So I wanted to talk a little bit about your Entangled with Fae series. Those are your fairy tale retellings.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know what inspired you to kind of take these well-known stories, right, and put your own twist and your own spin on them.
So when I started that series, I had just finished my Fairytale trilogy, and that was a read in order. Like it's a you can't skip around. It's not standalone. You got to read it. And it was like it was really fun and fay, but there was also like some heavy politics, and it was like a complex story. I'm like, I need something fluffy. I need to write something fluffy. I was reading things that were a little fluffier,
Yeah.
and I was like, I wanted to write a standalone, and I already had a couple characters who I felt like left with enough from my trilogy that I'm like, I want to give them more though. There's particularly one fan favorite character. His name is Franco. Like I got so many requests of people like, you have to give him a story. Because he's kind of like the red herring love interest, like the second male lead. And so people just fell in love with him. They want him to have a happy ending. And he does in book 2 of the Entangled with Fae series, Heart of the Raven Prince. But anyways, I had these characters already. I'm like, I want to do more with them. I was already feeling like I wanted to stay in my world though. I was having a lot of fun in my world, but I just wanted to take it down, lower stakes, more fluffy, fun, cozy. And I maybe throw in like maybe dive a little bit deeper into like the Regency vibes. So I had a tiny bit of like a Victorian influence in the Fair Owl trilogy, but I wanted to go like deeper into that, like a little more like rom-commy. And so just the fact that I wanted to still work in that Fey world felt like fairy tale retellings was just like the natural progression for that, especially since I wanted to do at least one standalone. And once I got the gears going, I was like, oh no, I can make a whole series of standalones. And yeah, so it just like just having that spark of the idea and then being like, okay, well, I have this character. And the character that really sparked the whole series was I had a grumpy wolf at the end of the Fair Isle trilogy who gets wounded, and I was just like, Grumpy Wolf, he's the beast. Okay, we've got a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And then
Check.
yeah, it just really worked from there. So it was like, it was just seemed natural. Like it just seemed like the
Yeah.
right thing for that world to do next. And it was a lot of fun to do. And I knew right away, like Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, those were the first two that I was like for sure about because I already had my male leads for those two books. And then the next ones I'm like, I know I want to do these, but I didn't really know exactly like who they'd be about because after that point, I would meet my characters on the page, like, oh, you're gonna be in the next book. Okay.
Right.
So yeah.
I love so much about that though. I love when side characters kind of take, or not even side characters, just more minor characters take a life of their own, right? And
Yeah.
readers respond so much to these kind of secondary characters to the point where it's inspiring authors to make entirely new stories for the side character. I love that. That's one of my favorite things is when I read a book, not even necessarily realizing that there's a series of like interconnected standalones, and I love a secondary character, and then I'm like, oh, my gosh, the next book is about them. Great, like that worked out so well.
Yeah.
And I love the cozy, lighter stakes kind of vibe. I'm definitely in the reading mood right now too, where like I want everybody to be happy at the end. I want it to be exciting, but not too exciting. I
Yeah.
These are definitely like high up on my TBR because that is the vibe I need right now in my life. Um, so you have the Beauty and the Beast and the Cinderella. What other fairy tales do you have in that series so far?
So book 3 is Kiss the Silky. That is The Little Mermaid. Book
Mermaid, yeah.
4 is A Taste of Poison. That's Snow White. And then book 5 is A Dream So Wicked, and that is Sleeping Beauty. And these are standalones you can read in any order, but there is kind of like a chronological order where you meet the next character. The last two are a little more interchangeable because they aren't like the chronological order isn't as important. I have a new cat, and this is his room while we're in quarantine, so I hope he's not going to disturb.
Oh, no, it's
He's
totally fine.
interrupting me right now, but yeah, this is his quarantine room is my office, so.
Nice. I have a 2-year-old golden doodle. I
Oh, okay.
Pets kinda just do their thing and don't care what we're doing, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I really hope he doesn't get. We can't put him in any other room until he gets along better with the cats.
Oh, poor guy. Um, I wanted
Anyways,
I wanted to ask just one more thing about the fairy tales. Did you feel the need, I guess, to do a lot of research about the fairy tales themselves, the original stories, or because you set these fairy tale retellings in your own universe, did you feel more free to just kinda do whatever you wanted to do with the story?
it was a mix. I did for each of these, I would rewatch the Disney movie because for readers, even if, technically retellings are not retellings of the Disney movie. The Disney movie is a
Right.
retelling of the original retelling, and not all readers like know that. Like they don't
Okay,
realize
yeah.
that I can't retell Tangled, I can retell Rapunzel. Tangled is a retelling of Rapunzel. So like
Right,
but still readers come to expect certain tropes from the Disney movie because a lot of us grew up on those Disney movies as readers and we fell in love
right,
with certain tropes. So there's certain things I'm like, if I don't have this in the book, it's not a Disney retelling or it's not a fairy tale retelling, even if it doesn't have anything to do with the original. So for
right.
like Beauty and the Beast, you have to have like there's just certain like the phrase words. You're like, oh, I remember when when they say something like that. So I would rewatch the Disney movie just to get those little Easter eggs where I'm like, okay, the readers are gonna want this, this, and this for them to feel like, okay, this is a retelling that is going to feel
Yeah,
cozy and real to me. And then I would also read the original. I would read about the different variations from different sources to also get the heart of the story, and to see maybe get some inspiration that the Disney retellings didn't do, so that I could see,
yeah.
oh, this one went a certain way, and that's actually like kind of dark and creepy. I kind of like that.
A lot of them are super dark,
Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of them. So I did a mix of that, and then just kind of that was kind of my outline or like my little signposts. I'm like, okay, so these are the important signposts, and make sure that the heart is there, and make sure those tropes that that us as readers grew up just falling in love with are also there. And then in the middle of all of that, I could be as free as I wanted and make sure that it felt new and original in my world with my characters.
Right, authentic to the story that you had already started telling with these
Yeah.
characters. Yeah, I
Yes.
love that. That's well, your 2026 next year is looking really exciting and
Yeah.
probably busy. You've got a couple of different releases. You've got your first trad published book, The Lies That Summon the Night. And you also have the release of book 3 in your Flings series, which is Elegance and Espionage. So congratulations on the trad published books, the release of book 3, these multiple series. That's awesome.
Thank
Congratulations on that.
you.
What can readers look forward to with these releases next year?
So first, I'll just say that elegance and espionage is still in the air because I do now that I have contracts, I have contractually
Yeah,
important deadlines. So I'm like, okay, it means I need to focus on that series and make sure I am sticking to those deadlines before I focus on my indie stuff because my indie stuff is flexible.
right,
I can give that the time when I have the time for it. I don't have to be as and I also want to keep that series, Faithlings and Corset String series, to be my comfort series as a writer because I wrote that when I'm like, okay, I need a break again from whatever I was writing before. I want to follow my muse, and this is what my muse wants to write. It is fun, it is fluffy, it's adult, it's spicy. And like, these are the things. And I want to be in that like super happy, giddy mood where I'm just like kicking my feet while I'm writing. And I do that best if I'm not doing that as like, okay, I have to write this book in the next 4 months so that I can
yeah,
write next book
yeah,
within X amount of months. So I'm like I did want to release it this year, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's possible. And I do. So still 2026 is tentative too, because again, deadlines, but we
yeah.
are hoping 2026. Anyways, I just want to get that out of the way so that like
Fingers crossed for 2026.
yeah, so that one is flexible and in the air, but you can definitely. So that one's going to be about Araminta, who is a character that you meet in book two, My Feral Romance. It's going to be fun. She's a very chaotic character. It's going to be really fun to be in her brain. I've already written the bonus epilogue in My Feral Romance was from her POV, and I wrote the first two chapters just to get a little start so that I can return to it later. And it was really fun being in her brain. So that's going to be fun. You can expect a marriage of convenience. Basically, I like to describe her as like gothic Barbie, basically. Like it's kind of like Legally Blonde vibes, but in like a Victorian-esque era. So that one's
Yeah.
going to be really fun. And then, so for the Lies at Some of the Night, that one is like so much on the top of my mind because I finished writing book one by the end of last year, and I'm actually writing book two right now. And yeah, we're starting to be able to share more releases and things like, or reveals and things like that. That one is going to be, so that one's adult. It is a dark fantasy. It is romantasy. I really love it, and I cannot wait to be able to share more about it. I'm like, oh, I want to tell everybody everything about this one. But yeah, it's going to be a trilogy. Book one comes out in 2026, and I cannot freaking wait. That's my tried release.
That's really exciting. And I just wanted to say, I love the kind of boundary on yourself of I want to enjoy the process of writing these other books. So if that means that I need to push it off a little bit, then that's what I'm going to do. Because I, as a reader, I think that makes it a better reading experience
I
when
think
the
so too.
author,
Yeah.
yeah, when the author really loved the process, right? And really enjoyed the process. I think it makes it a better story and it makes it a better book. And
Yeah.
kudos to you for making it true to yourself first and foremost, but also just a better experience for your readers as well. So I love that. Lots to look forward to over
Yeah.
the next couple of years, I guess. That's book
It's gonna
one
be a
and book
busy
two.
few years. Yeah.
Do you expect to be maybe in the editing process of book two by the time book one is released?
Yeah,
Or
I will. I think right around the release of book one, book two is going to be due with my editors for like the first round edits. So yeah, it's going to be like this one comes out, that one's in edits, and then it's going to be like that for like the between now. I think book three is slated to come out in 2028. So we have like a rough plan of
yeah,
when the things are going to happen. So, but
that's
yeah,
exciting.
I haven't really had that kind of schedule. That's another reason why I want to be flexible, is because I've never had that kind of schedule where it's like you wait a couple months, you get your edits back. You wait a couple months. I'm like, okay, I know exactly how. Like, I'm gonna write this book. 2 weeks
Yeah.
later, it goes to my editor. 2 weeks later, it comes back to me, and bam, bam, bam. It's like a much different timeline that I'm now getting used to. So,
Yeah. And it's a different level of pressure too. So
yeah.
that's really exciting. Lots of things to look forward to.
Oh
So
yeah.
speaking of things to look forward to, we will see you very soon at Imaginarium Book Festival in DC this summer. Is there anybody that's going to be there that you are like excited to fangirl over or maybe meet for the first time or somebody that you've met before that you're excited to see again?
Oh my gosh, there's so many people. Like just looking at the list of the people who are going to be there, I'm like, oh my God. Tomi Adeyemi is gonna. That's gonna be really
Yeah.
like I'm like fangirl. I'm like, oh my God, that is like legendary that she's going to be there. And then there's a lot of authors who I've either been to events with and haven't met because it's just hard to like
Yeah.
mingle. And then there's a couple other authors who I have met before who I get to meet again. So I'm like, and I've been trying to challenge myself at more events to actually leave my table and go meet people because I've been to a few events. I'm like, oh my God, there's been like so many authors that I'm like, I wanted to say hi to, but then for one, I'm very shy. It takes me a lot of effort to get out of my comfort zone, but also events are
Yeah.
busy. So I'm like, I'm challenging myself to go say hi to more people. So I'm hoping that this will be another one where I will leave my table and go meet people and say hi to authors that I haven't said hi before and say hi again to the ones I have.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm the same way. I'm an outgoing introvert, but it's hard for me to like walk away from my table and go say hi to
Yeah.
somebody. Like I'll think about it for 2 hours before I like have the courage to do it. I'm right
Yeah.
there with you on that. But yeah, there's a lot of people to be excited about. It's like everybody.
I know.
There's
I'm
not
like, I
anybody
was
to
like,
not
I'm
be
like, oh my,
excited about.
yeah. I'm like, my mind is blown. Like, I really love, just like how many people are going to be there and like the diverse authors that are going to be there. And it's just, yeah, I'm really excited to be part of this.
Yeah, it's like my favorite part of the year is going to Imaginarium. It's super, super fun. Well, that brings us to our nerdy and dirty speed round. I've got just some random questions for the listeners to get to know you a little bit. No wrong answers, just whatever pops into your head. So away we go. What was your, did I freeze a little bit? On my side, I saw my video freeze. Can you still hear me and see me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. What was your favorite fairy tale growing up?
It was probably Beauty and the Beast.
Follow-up question. With the Disney Beauty and the Beast, did you, because I felt this way, did you feel that the Beast was actually like more attractive as the Beast than as the Prince?
I'm like one of the rare people who like I was like, okay, he's cute, but he was like too pretty. Like I remember thinking that
Yes.
like I was like, oh, she gets like a hot prince now, and I was like, he's like too pretty. So I wasn't like I was excited for him to like turn into a human, but then I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, there was like a little level of disappointment. So I feel like
Disappointment,
I'm kind of in
yes.
like a weird zone where I was like, I wasn't more in love with the beast, but I also was like, I don't know, I feel like he needs to be like punched in the face a little bit just to like to get up the right level of hot.
Yes, we are kindred spirits there. Which fairy tale has been your favorite to retell as an author?
Probably Heart of the Raven Prince for Cinderella because that one, like I liked Cinderella, but I didn't like the romance. Like the
Mm,
romance in like it honestly isn't really there like as in terms of like romance
yeah.
tropes. It's just like the guy at the end. And
It's a meet cute and that's pretty much it.
yeah, that's and it's like at the end you don't really or and then he's like I guess it's not like quite at the end, but then all that's left at the end is him just like running around trying to find her. And I was like, you know what? Like, I want to know the prince from the beginning and have that as part of the plot from the start. Which I feel like a lot of like Cinderella retellings, like that's what we do. We're like, okay, we got to make the prince like way more fun here. So I think that's
Why
pretty
does everybody
standard.
want him? People need
Yeah,
to get to know him more.
yeah, exactly.
Which of your characters do you relate to the most?
I relate to Edwina and Daphne, so that's from my A Rivalry of Hearts and My Fatal Romance.
What do you relate to about those two characters?
They are the characters who I let myself put the most me into. Like it was just like, no, we're like there's going to be no filter on these characters. They are the most me, which was actually kind of hard emotionally. It felt very
Yeah.
raw at times.
Yeah, I would imagine when you put a lot of yourself into a character, it's hard then to put the book out there and get people's feedback because it's like more personal that
Oh
way, I
yeah,
would imagine.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like everybody only say positive things. Thank you so much. What was your favorite movie as a child?
So I think early on childhood it was The Last Unicorn and My Neighbor Totoro. And then when I was older, like I think young teen, tween, it was Ever After. And Ever After was just like my favorite for so long after that.
Yeah, we were just talking about Ever After recently on one of our podcast episodes because we were talking about the makeup and the costumes. Like
Oh
that's
my
what
God, yeah.
I
Perfect.
yes, like I didn't even hear that much about the actual story. I was just like watching for the makeup and the costuming. It's still, I think that movie really holds up.
It does.
That's so funny that you say that because I felt like that was such a random movie for us to bring up. So that's funny that you say that too. What is your favorite thing to do on a day off?
So I'm kind of a workaholic, so my favorite thing to do is nothing. I don't want to go on my computer and I was just lay in bed for a really long time and read manga or webtoons because yeah, I need to like absolutely turn off my brain.
I was just about to ask if you like to read while you are deep in your own project, because I know sometimes authors are like, I don't want to read anything because I need to focus on my story, but you do like to read just like a completely different genre, I guess.
I it depends. So sometimes if I'm it just, yeah, I'm such a mood reader, and so if I'm reading something and it's too similar to my book and I'm in maybe a creative, like I'm generating a lot of creative ideas in that, in like the writing stage I'm currently in, I'll read a book and it will just make me think of my book. And I'll be reading like a page and I'll realize that all I did that whole time was brainstorm my own book. And so I have to put that away and maybe find a different genre, which is usually a thriller or a contemporary rom-com. Cause that, like, I can completely separate what I'm writing from that. And then sometimes I'm in like a deep dive where I just want to feel the vibes of what I'm writing. And then, and I feel like that usually is when I'm a little bit farther in on my project where I'm already done, like I'm already done doing the creative generation like process.
Yeah.
And so I can just like enjoy it and just like soak in the vibes of like when I was writing The Lies That Summon the Night, I was reading so much dark romantasy, just like as many different of the popular romantasies as I could just to like soak in those vibes and like
Yeah.
just like I'm hanging out with my book's friends. That's what it felt like.
Oh, I love that. I love that idea. That probably is exactly what it feels like. Your book's friends and cousins, and I
Yeah.
like that. If you could wake up tomorrow as one of your characters from any of your books, who would you choose?
Probably Araminta, which is the main character of Elegance and Espionage, who meet in My Frail Romance. She is a book sprite, and she's just so different from me. So I feel like it would be an interesting experience because we're very different. Also, she just reads books, so I just feel like it would be kind of fun to just flit around and read some books and just be a little chaos pixie
That
for a while.
Yeah, that sounds like a perfect day to me.
Yeah.
And then last question, what is bringing you the most joy in life right now?
Well, I got a cat yesterday and it's pretty joyful. He's asleep behind my back right now, just all snuggled up. So,
I love that.
it's pretty joyful. Also stressful because he doesn't like my other cats.
Yeah, new pet snuggles, I think, are some of the best snuggles in the
Oh,
world.
they are.
That's great. So, to Sonia, where can readers best connect with you? Would you say it's social media?
Yeah, I'm most often on Instagram. That's my favorite social media. But I have a Facebook group. Um, and I every once in a while make myself go on TikTok.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of authors. Like, I'm on TikTok, but not really. It's too much.
Yeah.
Do you do a newsletter?
I do, yeah. Oh, I forget that part too. Every 2 weeks, I do send out a newsletter, so that's a great way to stay up to date on like releases without having to worry about like the whims of the algorithm hiding my posts.
Yeah, yeah. So everybody go to her website and sign up for the newsletter for sure. So where can we purchase your books?
All my ebooks are on Amazon. They're all on Kindle Unlimited, and then my paperbacks and hardcovers are available on most online book retailers. And then signed books, I have a curated selection of signed books on my shop.
Awesome. So signed, are they any signed special editions or a mix of
It's I
regular
so as of
original editions?
Yeah, so as of now, I've cut it down to only special editions or new releases. So I have a special edition omnibus on there right now, and then I have special edition paperbacks that are like exclusive to my shop. So yeah, there's some that you can only find on my shop, and there's some that are just new releases that people want to get signed. So I try to make sure I stock those for a while.
I love that. That's always fun when you can get a special like signed edition from the author's website. I love doing that. So
Yeah.
we know that you will be at Imaginarium. Do you have any other conventions, events, signings coming up for 2025?
Yeah, the next one I have is Book Harvest in Chicago.
Oh, okay. What is that like in the fall or is that
Yes,
summer?
that one's October.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at because that's a drivable distance for us in Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe I can make this work. I don't know. Huh. Well, thank you again so much. We always finish out our nerdiest thing with sharing what our nerdiest thing of the week is, and it usually is book related, but it doesn't have to be. Maybe you're doing some kind of deep dive research for a work in progress that you've got going on. Maybe there's something that you just got super excited about. We would love to hear what your nerdiest thing of the week is.
Probably, the all day I spent reading about cat behavior and introducing cats to other cats. I did a deep dive. I'm like hyper fixating on it. I'm like, okay, I have to make sure this is perfect so they don't hate each other forever. Yeah, I that's cat mom is my nerdy thing of the week.
Yeah, full force cat mom. Did you at least feel like you found some things that would be helpful?
I did, yeah, because our first day introduction was okay, and then the second day was terrible.
Oh, no.
It wasn't terrible. There were 3 cat fights, which wasn't fun. So we have to take a
Yeah.
step back. So yeah, I learned a lot of really good tips, and I'm going to actually stick with them now.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
And again, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. We are really excited to see you face to face at Imaginarium in just a few short weeks.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your night.
You too.